low block, you know, an inability to impose ourselves physically, no plan B. While players have stepped up, there's clear limitations on certain individuals. Certain man can't go to the promised land. They can be part of the squad. But if you rock up in the Champions League next year with certain man in midfield consistently, if Jesus is injured and there's certain man, boy, not isolating one, there's just not enough variety in our play. And that's the end of the game. First things first, first things first. Congratulations to Brentford. Fantastic opponent to play today. You've got to give credit where due. They came, low block, frustrated us, were great on the counter. It's as much as I'm saying it's 2 points drop for us, it's 2 points drop for them. We should have been 2, 3, 4 down in that first half. We've only got ourselves to blame. The positives, I would say Trossard's got his first goal for Arsenal, and he inspired substitution of sorts. There was somewhat of a reaction in the second half, but football's not like that. While it's a 90-minute game and on occasion you can do all of that, it's just not enough at that moment in time. Not quite the reaction we hope for from Everton. It's nice to obviously, get a point. We got none against Everton, so it's nice to get a point. Still no winning free. Arteta, you're my gaffer. I got a lot of time for you and Benjamin White, but quite frankly, why the hell are we there talking with the ref? I know it's an injustice, but we don't need to do that. The game is done. And forget what the ref has or haven't given. Can we look ourselves in the eyes and say across 90 minutes today we've done enough? No, we haven't. So let's go into the change room and address ourselves in the mirror before we go elsewhere. Can't blame them. Low blocks, frustration, time wasting, issues. That's what teams are going to do. Inability to deal with it with the physicality today. The good, we've done some good, we've done some bad. In many ways, we're fortunate to get a point. In many ways, we're unlucky. Immature game management from us. The goal, Saliba, Ramsdale, Zinchenko, and it's not just them. No, not a single player is being blamed for myself today, people. We've held the lead for about 6, 7, 8 minutes. Just like against Man United, where both teams showed immaturity. Got ourselves to blame today. Frustrate yourselves. Be angry with yourselves. I'm seeing real fight, when the game's kind of done and we're getting frustrated about alleged tackles. Where is that fight immediately after half-time, which I think we did better? Where's that fight to start the game? Because the first 10 minutes, we looked like we turned up. Other than that, we're at Brentford's mercy, and it was a closer sort of game. There were opportunities for both sides. We still can't break down low blocks. We're still not, even though Saka's got an assist, the one time we're in the second half, we're isolating fullbacks with our wingers. When there's no connective play in the final third, it's very rigid, it's very precise, it's not really designed to break down a low block. We're playing a team more physical than us, so balls into the box are only going to go so far. Very predictable, very too precise. Not really winning the first and second balls today. Quite open on the transition at times. Better twice the team in the second half. Big reaction in the second half. A lot more closer in the second half. A lot more aligned to what we've become accustomed to with Arsenal in the second half. But when you buck these street smart teams, you need to do a lot better. Didn't really disrupt the compactness of Brentford. Same way we struggled against Newcastle and Everton. This is our Achilles heel. Arteta, I've got a lot of time for you. Why on God's green earth you and Benjamin White are still talking with the ref? Quite frankly, it's pissing me off. I'm not saying don't feel aggrieved, but you just look like sore losers. Even if you go back to Sunday League, you have to assume refs are shit. You have to assume that. We didn't control every variable we could have because we didn't create enough. Didn't put Raya under consistent pressure. Didn't defend well enough for that goal. Point is a fair point. In many ways, it's 2 points drop for us, and it's 2 points drop for Brentford. Because they should have taken the lead. We actually did. And it just makes the Man City game even more interesting. And now, if you're Man United, you got Leeds. If you're definitely if you're Chelsea, who also drew, or if you're Spurs, who lost 4-1, you're getting a bit of a consolation package. Pardon me, Liverpool, Man City got Villa tomorrow. They're wiping the floor with Villa, respectively. So, yeah, it is what it is. And I would also say frustration. Eddie looked frustrated because he's barely getting any chances. But why on God's green earth, he really buying into that number 14 hype. Why on God's green earth, he's shooting from some angles. Only him and God know. Zinchenko, I think you were decent today, apart from your part in the goal we conceded, which is collectively the team has to take responsibility in. I don't know why you're shooting all the time, but at the same time, there's no other options. There's no other options. And just like Eddie Howe, Thomas Frank, well, now Thomas Frank, Eddie Howe and Sean Dyche showed, you be compact, you win your first and second balls, you be a stubborn unit to break down, you will have trouble for Arsenal. What I would say, the variables we could control, could have started the game better, twice better. Could have, we had a great end to the first half. I feel we ended the first half strong. I think we started it well and then we ended it well. In between, it weren't quite there. Started the second half a lot better. Obviously, we got the goal, and we've been here before where we haven't necessarily been the better team. We haven't necessarily been good, but we have taken the lead. You need to see it through. And to concede 8 minutes from when we scored, you knew Brentford were getting a goal. It's an issue. We knew what to expect today. They're going to be a problem from throw-ins, dead ball scenarios, free kicks, corners, and ultimately they was. And I don't like to say that against Brentford because they've got so much quality on the ball. I think there was good battles. I think Gabriel and Saliba, obviously the goal is one thing, but I think Gabriel and Saliba acquit themselves very well against Mbeumo and Ivan Toney today. Same way both of them had good games as well. Their midfield, I won't quite say they overran us, but it was an even duel. I think Odegaard turned up in the second half. I think Partey I don't know what it is, but it looks like he's not 100%, but I don't think he was bad. He's probably one of our better players. Trossard, definitely one of our better players off the bench, which shows you the bars on the floor. But yeah, a couple of young players, a couple of consistent performers go missing. Couple of young players show their age, and couple that in with the inability to break down stubborn, rigid, defensive low blocks, you get results that you have to do. If you can't win, don't lose. We've got a point. It's not quite the reaction that we wanted, after when we lost to Man United, drew against Southampton, and obviously drew against Newcastle. That is now 12 out of all the points we've got this season. That's a potential 12 points dropped. And I don't believe Arsenal winning the title. I've said this before. I want to be wrong. I just feel we're not quite there yet. I do want to win it if we can. I do want us to be like next season and the seasons beyond that we're a team that people can say, obviously we can. But, and I'm like I said, we've done quite well. But if you look at the 12 points dropped, you're going to get into a scenario you feel if you did better in many aspects across this game, if you did better against Man United at Old Trafford, if you held on to the lead against Brighton, against Southampton, if you was able to obviously break down a stubborn Newcastle unit, if you fucking turn up last week, against Everton, who knows? But if some buts are not there, points on the boards is all that matters. At least Trossard gets his debut goal, Saka gets an assist. We're leaving with something, man. And if you can't win, don't lose, innit? In many ways, we're very unlucky to draw the game. We're very effing lucky to draw this game. And big up, I don't know who Sergi is, but that's a great touch from Ivan Toney when he scored to obviously pay tribute to Sergi or whoever. But yeah, man, I think Martinelli was one of our better. I think he was Martinelli's been in a bit of a rut, but it's one of his better games. I think he was doing better than Eddie Nketiah, but I understood the change, and it was backed up with Trossard obviously coming on the pitch and doing well. I think Benjamin White looked better in the second half and had a key role for the goal we scored. But other than that, he looks a bit spent. Shows the evident limitations on our midfield. Wingers are not getting isolated enough 1v1 against fullbacks. The one time Saka really is, he's tearing Rico Henry a new one. Trossard looked a bit more livelier. Midfield can't really impose itself. Xhaka's had two quite poor games, if I'm honest with you, been overrun, and I think it's testament that you've come off really. You were fortunate not to come off against Everton. And if we want to go to the way we need to, I honestly believe you need an 8 or 2. Granit can be a good player and can play his way into the team and do things like that. But you need a curtain raiser in the middle of the park. Someone that can break down low blocks. Someone that can leave Odegaard, Saka, all of these guys who are dropping into their own half further forward. And that's not a criticism. Xhaka's got a lot of qualities. I'm not saying to sell him. Again, physicality. If Partey's not there, we're in issues. Maybe if we had a number 6, you could physically impose yourself a lot more again with Partey. So, yeah, and obviously the evident brain farts and the cheap goals we conceded. And, we need to take lessons because Ivan Toney was always going to score. He hit the post. Ben Mee had that little chance from a corner. Rico Henry should have scored. There was a big save from Ramsdale in the first half. We just have to accept this, innit? Like, it is what it is. Potential 6 points. You've dropped 5 points in the last 2 games. There was probably always going to be a normalization of performance because there has been an evident we've earned the right to overperform, and we've done well this season, but we've overperformed. There's been many games where it could have ended like today, many games at home. It could have been like this against Villa, against Fulham, against West Ham. but it happens. If you can't win, don't lose. We've done that. To say you need to be better against Man City is an understatement, because they're probably licking their lips now. Like last week, they know if they get onto Villa, the lead gets cut, and then they could probably firmly capitulate Arsenal next week. But what I would say, it's all, people have gone from not rating this Arsenal team to rating them, to the point where it's a foregone conclusion incorrectly that they're winning the league. It's how you react. You said you was going to react to following Everton. You didn't do that. You didn't react today. Now, how do you get on? Because now we're getting to the crunch period. If you want the league title, go and fight for it. Me, just hoping you go as far as you can in the Europa League. Hoping you get Champions League football, whether you finish first, second, third, or fourth. If you can aspire to do that, who wouldn't want Arsenal to win the league? But City are miles ahead of us, regardless of what they're doing, and you keep dropping points in it. So, got to react. Now we're going to see what you're made of. You can be frustrated. The one thing I would say, while I like the fight, I'm a bit peed off about how these games are kind of ending against Everton and obviously today. Yes, the refs and the linesmen could be wrong. Yes, you can be frustrated. Yes, by all means, get onto them. But cool, you take away those little flashpoints in the game. Did we do enough to win today? If you say yes, you're a liar. So you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. We didn't take heed of the lessons learned. And it's another street smart team that's walked away with something. Credit to Brentford, because while it's all about Arsenal, they're in fantastic form. It's a good reaction to when we beat them at their place. And they've taken points off all the big teams. They've beaten Liverpool. Forgive me if I'm wrong. They've beaten Liverpool. They've beaten Liverpool. I'm sure they've beaten City. They either drew or beat City. They beaten United. They drew against Spurs, where I wish it was like the team that played Spurs, where they were 2 goals ahead. So this is a big team. This is a team that's on stuff, really. And when you look at the league table, them, Fulham, Brighton, they're overperforming as well this season. So there was no God-given right. And I think Brentford can be proud of their performance today, really and truly. And even Newcastle might be licking their lips. You beat Bournemouth, which I expect them to. You're doing all right. But there you have it for us, man. Is what it is, man. You can't afford to just wake up for 10, 20, 30, half an hour and that. Crazy. I wouldn't say comfortably. We can't hold leads for 5 minutes, can't deal with set pieces. We are not beating City. We can't score goals. 1 point against the most informed team in the league. Not ideal at home, but we didn't lose. We move. Should have been, bro. Bro. The game, let's be real. Brentford should have wrapped us in that first half. Game should have been wrapped up for them in the first half. And I do think I'm exaggerating a bit, because I wouldn't say they put us under extreme pressure, or we put them under extreme pressure, or we wasn't necessarily good or bad. It was an indifference performance across stages. Now, you're obviously going to judge Brentford to different standards to Arsenal, but in the first half, they definitely created a lot more clear-cut chances, and we should have been kebab. We should have been jerked, fried, everything in the first half. 1 point out of an easy 6, Michael. There's no such thing as an easy game. We should have played. It's more the performance I'm looking at in them games. You knew against Sean Dice, Everton are fighting for their lives. From an emotional aspect, going to their place wasn't easy. That being said, we was terrible in that game. And I don't think we was terrible today, but we didn't do what we needed to do, innit? But, Arsenal fans are going to do that. Not saying you, but we're going to do this thing where players are going to get scapegoated now. And some players are going to bury themselves in, some fans are going to bury themselves in positive la-la land. Misery loves company. So many people are going to be out there. It is what it is, man. Wednesday is going to be mad for the neutrals, man. Who knows? Hopefully our players watch Leicester versus Man City a few years ago when Leicester won the league with Mahrez and gets inspired, man. But I'd say the damning thing for me is if a couple of players are not on it, or clearly Xhaka and Martinelli, 2 very different roles in the team, 2 of our most informed players. Not to make it all about them, they're in a bit of a rut. Martinelli, and even though I think Martinelli was better than against Everton, and he was definitely better than Eddie and Nketiah, them 2 gone walkabouts. You're not quite having the best of games from either 2. We've lost it. You don't have Jesus, which I don't flipping care who is or isn't involved. These are factors, but injuries are not isolated to us. People gone walkabouts. Odegaard turned it on in the second half. I think Partey did okay. I think Saliba and Gabriel can leave with some credibility. While I like what Zinchenko brings to the table, obviously a number of players, including him, were quite poor in the goal. But you can't keep having the left back being the conductor. It's not going to bang, really. For me, the most frustrating thing is we've not done anything to disrupt that low block. We have never at any point disrupted that low block. The minute we effing look like a football team in the final third with Odegaard, Saka, Benjamin White down the right-hand side, Trossard just following in. You know, we are a bit crippled because you can't put crosses for no reason in the box. They're physically better than us. But even if we got to the scenario of where Arsenal want to be, if that is Arsenal's weakness, teams are going to do that. Why would you be open? Why would you not be good in the air and things like that? And I would say at a point, I was very disappointed with our inability to win, not even necessarily the first or seconds. If we win the second, we're not winning the first, or like one guy will win the first, everybody's just watching. And I did think in the first half, at times, basic passes. I understand why Eddie's frustrated, but Eddie had a bit of a stinker as well. But you just have to get on with things. Just have to get on with things. I don't hear nothing about the ref. I don't hear nothing about players injured. I don't hear nothing about the transfer window and all of these sort of things. But yeah, man. A man said, that's twice I've watched you both fails. Your bad luck, bro. I'm out. Paul, suck your mum, man. What the fuck? Man blaming me like I'm the one working at London Coley. Like, hey, man not blaming. Man not, that, you know what? That actually lifts my mood. Man not blaming me sat here watching it, you know, rather than yourself. Like, rather than the players. Like, I am the reason. Yeah, because I'm Ramsdale. I came out. I missed the header like I'm Saliba. I'm playing people on side like Zinchenko. I've scored in Trossard and my team's conceded in 6 minutes. Mikel Arteta, the gaffer, rightly or wrongly, has to take praise or criticism that comes with it. You look like a grown man in your display picture. I hope you haven't got kids, because if they're learning anything like you, they're going to go into this world and be some absolute knobheads. Absolute knobheads. Absolute knobheads, man. But that lifted the mood, man. Man blaming me, you know. Get the hell out of here, man. The only thing that was to troll, but just to troll Tottenham. Set pieces needs work again. Need to go back to basics. Need to go back to basics where it comes to set pieces. Need to go back to basics again. I'm not being cynical, but maybe I don't think the players are feeding into the hype. But maybe we think that we've learned some things and we're better at doing some aspects of this game than we already are. Because it was a game to get back to the basics, and now that's 180 minutes, excluding the half time or extra time, and then them things at football. And I can't say consistently for 90 minutes we've done the basics. I can say Everton can. I can say Brentford can. The one time they didn't, they went to sleep, you know, low driven cross, Trossard's put it in the back of the net. How many clear-cut chances did we really create today? Another game. These are the problems. If you don't defend the back of your net well enough, if you don't put enough pressure on your opponents, you're not going to win. It's nothing, you know, football's a simple game complicated by idiots. It's nothing groundbreaking. Football's won in both boxes. So there you have it, man. It's frustrating. For me, it's not necessarily the result, because I would have taken a point against Brentford. Make no mistake, I wanted to win for everything we've said. Brentford are an informed team. They're a problem. It's more the performance across 90 minutes, 180 if you consider Everton. But it's been there. It's gone. Man, I have to just accept it and go again on Tuesday, because, again, as I said at the start of this, Brentford don't care that you lost to Everton and you're trying to do the impossible. City are definitely not going to care that you haven't won in your last 2 games, defeats in 3 games now in all comps. Well, drop points. No winning 3, better yet, pardon me, because we've got 2 losses and a draw. They're not going to care. You feel sorry for yourself in this life. It gets worse. The most beautiful thing, but the harshest thing about life, people, that I've discovered in my short 27 years, it goes on, man. They might not be able to press, bro, but you do need variety in your game. In a game like Brentford, you could have just knocked it into the chest and it gets us further up the pitch. I mean, bats are going to fly. I mean, Jorginho's going to get overrun in a game like this. 2 losses and a draw last 3 games. We need to turn that around. You need to, man. You don't, you're in issues, man. I don't know if he signed the contract, man. I mean, they might be having a regress. There was always going to be a normalization of some performances, man. What I would say is you've not won in 3 now. You've not won in 3. You've not won in 2 Premier League games. It could be better. It could be us. React. You know, when things are going well, that's not necessarily when you see people, you know, what people are made of. It could be better. It could be worse. Everton, a team that we rocked up and played, couldn't buy a win. Such is the expectation and the level Arsenal's been playing with this season. It's gonna, not that it's gonna get overblown, but we all know people are gonna be unnecessarily positive and play down things. Some people are gonna get excited, and I'm speaking mainly about the media outlets are gonna be excited and be a bit negative. The truth is in the middle, bro. 3 games you've not won. You've dropped. You've taken 1 point from your last 5. Reaction. I still think we're winning the league. We're still better than City. Yeah, City have been doing it for years, and they're known quantity. Arsenal, as much as I like what we're doing, we're not. So I hope we do that, bro. I hope we do that. One love for the love, El Pedrino. I can never pronounce that name, but you always hear. Bit hard to say silly, but he's more personality. I mean, until it's mathematically confirmed that we're getting Champions League, anything can happen, man. Odegaard could have been better. Xhaka hasn't been great last few games, and front line lacked creativity in runs. DG, Did you see that Chelsea fan that got sent to the shadow realm outside the West Ham Stadium? Yeah, man, crazy. And Ketia is Welbeck 2.0. To be fair, Welbeck on the left hand channel could have done a thing. Yeah, we didn't get caned 4-1. I just think we try to be a bit too precise, and I can't blame us, but there needs to be that healthy randomness. Gotta give credit to both Everton and Brentford, but this is the blueprint. Them two and Newcastle, low blocks. If you give us space, we're gonna clip you. Just need to keep going, man. Weird guy, bro. How is that man blaming me? I didn't know I was that powerful, bro. What did I do? Like, I'm the reason we dropped points against Everton. Not the defending. I'm the reason we dropped points against Brentford. Shit, man are gonna blame me for United. Did I buy Lokonga for Arsenal Football Club, let alone play him there? It's coping mechanisms. I hear it though, man. It's coping mechanisms. I'm not even if I was at the stadium, maybe, but I'm not even at the bloody stadium. What a wallad, man. Bro, he needs loud. Bro, that's not someone that leads loud. That's a crackhead, bro. That is a crackhead, man. It's all funny though, man. What's the timeline on Jesus? You're gonna have to talk to the medical room and all of them, man. I'm not talking if anything. I know exactly where we are. Exactly coping mechanisms. You either are listening to what I'm saying, or your head is buried in positive sand, or your head's buried in negative land. The truth is in the middle. I know exactly where Arsenal are. This channel's not for you, respectfully, man. We're not here to gas up the team. London's red, pressuring them. I'll take 4 points off Brentford, though. I can't count, man. Football's a funny old game, mate. Football's a funny old game, as we've seen. But I would say that's also a benefit, that it's all doom and gloom after not picking up points in 2 games, but just keep ticking over. And this is why I said at the start of this live stream, one thing I loved of our blistering start to the season is that when these inevitable mishaps happen, if you can call it that, dropping points against United, losing to United, drawing against Southampton, drawing against Brentford, losing to Everton, there's drawing against Newcastle. There might be a game I'm forgetting. You give yourself a platform to fall upon when you're not having the consistencies we've had. We're in issues. What I would say is we've got to manage this period. We've got to make peace with this period. We've got to accept that it could be better. It could be worse. We've got to get back to basics on the performance across 90 minutes. We've got to get back to basics on keeping balls out of our net from dead ball scenarios and probably cutting open teams. We need to win our first battles a lot better and just get back to it. And a lot of players have to arrest their own inconsistencies, but this is what you're going to get. So we just have to keep it moving, really. What more can you say? Wednesday's the one. Keep it going, man. And we are at a stage now where this is the best way, where assessing a situation rationally is a negative thing. Yeah, exactly. I could sit here and waffle, oh, well, United still got to play Leeds, and you got Chelsea have dropped points, and City got to play Villa, and we've got to play them, and this happened, and Spurs this and that. No, why can't the truth be in the middle? But football's an emotional game, man. So I understand it. I think surely Trossard's played himself into that lineup, man. Ben White looks a bit collapsed at this moment, man. Today we tried our best but lacked in creating clear-cut chances. Crazy, man. Jesus will be back at a crucial time. Feel like that's great, but then Jesus at your knee, you know, I don't know for him. Like, you need to deal with this now, innit? I've got no sympathy for Arsenal or any club when it comes to injuries. Obviously, some clubs have an easier hand than others. And for the large part of this season, we've been kind of, you know, we've had a little El Nene, a little Partey, Tomiyasu, this. We've had the little ones and we've just got over it. Even got away with this Jesus one. But, bro, injuries are part and parcel. When you sit there in August, you have to have said, okay, Jesus gets injured, Eddie steps up, which he has been doing. Eddie gets injured, this happens. Gabriel gets injured, this happens. And the same goes for every other club. As much as we can talk about injuries and maybe the transfer market, these things are irrelevant now. It just takes away from today, the 90 minutes. Did we have enough to play a lot better today? Yes. Had we have played a lot better, would we have won, lost, or drawn? I don't know, but there would have been more of a chance of certain things. So it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, Martinelli's 20 odd years of age, 21 years of age is going to happen. Ironically, of the last 3 or so games for Martinelli, I think he was a lot better. I think Eddie's quite fortunate that Martinelli can't really play up front like that, like a traditional front man, or he could have been clipped. I think Xhaka's gone walkabout last 2 games. Don't know what's happened there. And I just think everyone, you know, I find myself again saying, you know, fair enough. Odegaard was here and there. I know Saliba and Gabriel maybe could have done better for the goals, but I think they were good. Pardon me, I saw Zinchenko turn up. You know, we need to get back to when we was all arguing amongst each other of who was man of the match when there was like 7. It's another one where I have to question Ramsdale's decision making, if I'm honest with you, because I do think the goal from the free kick we gave away to people playing people onside to missing out in the air to whatever Ramsdale was doing, it's a catalogue of errors, people. You know. We can't just blame one single facet. We can't just focus on one key point of this game, really. Yeah, Man City can be got at, you know. They're human. They bleed just like us. But it's easy to talk here and do this. You need to go out there and do it, innit? Eddie might not be good enough, but to be fair, he's not picking himself. He's not picking himself. Eddie Nketiah is not picking himself. Just like I feel like at Man United in Old Trafford, you sign up for certain results when you do or don't do things in the transfer market. But again, we'll just have to see. I mean, hopefully we can win against City and all's forgiven, but boy, City licking their lips, really, if I'm honest with you people. As I said, you just have to make peace with it and just get on with it. It's just, I'm more frustrated about the performance ultimately than the results. Winning, losing comes with football, and you know we've 2 losses on the board this season. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but a decent amount of draws. I would have taken if you told me in August this is the position Arsenal would be in and just gave me the points tally on the board like we have now, I would have taken it. But in life, we can always do better. Always do better. I mean, you can always compete with City. Just because City are, let's be honest, even on their worst, miles ahead of us, don't just go there and lie down. But the fine margins that you haven't done against Everton and Brentford, if you do that against City, there's going to be problems again because Pep's been playing all these mind games. His players are giving all these interviews. He feels hard done by because, you know, City are a funny club or Pep's a funny guy. If you've done something booky in the dressing room, not the dressing room, sorry, definitely not, in the boardroom in relation to what City find themselves going through off the field and clubs complain, how can you cry? But he's trying to do that siege mentality. It was pretty unsustainable to expect us. There's been games we've played kind of like that and won in it. It's not going to happen all the time. Exactly. Points in the position at this point are good. Let's keep perspective and see how we come out of a no period. Exactly. I'm not being funny, but it's 2 games. That's down to the players now. Are you going to get out of this or move forward? Player Man City suits Eddie, though. He plays much better against open sides. Trust. So, yeah, there you have it. There you have it, folks, man. So, yeah, what else are you guys saying? Big up to you, lot, though. Win, lose, draw, etc. I don't do the trolling thing. Come on, man. Trossard has been the electric spice of the last 3 games. If anything from today, surely he starts, but super sub does work. I'd start him against City. Should have started this game for me. I don't think Ben White was poor like that beyond anyone else. I don't think it was a case of people playing 2 out of 10 and all of that crap. But yeah, man. Sad stack. I'm not even going to read that, but you're living up to your name. I think you get another number 8, a quality number 8. You see a better Martin Odegaard. Look, the thing that frustrates me is you can see these things. You go there with a low block, you're rigid. Every attacking player is going to drop. Odegaard's going to drop. Yeah, we might purr on occasion. You know, it's no rocket science. You get Saka, Martinelli, Trossard closer to the fullbacks, deep in their half. You get Odegaard breaking lines consistently. You score a goal. Who would have thought that? But until May, we got what we have to deal with, innit? So just have to get on with this thing, man. Not saying Eddie's going to be man of the match or anything, but he needs space to do his thing. I just say, just make the better decisions, man. Jesus wasn't scoring like that, so he won't fix the problem. Yeah, but I can't lie. Against a deep block, there's more gears to Jesus' game, and I think we missed the havoc factor there. And naturally, because of him provoking havoc, I think there'll be more spaces opening up. I think Eddie at times can be a bit of a passenger, really, a bit of a peripheral figure. But even that, people that have been, quite frankly, pardon my language, sucking off Eddie Nketiah, respectfully, the last couple of weeks. You know how football is. He's going to be public enemy number one. This is the first thing that's what frustrates me in football. And I'm sure, Hector, you being a United fan, there's probably some other fans. There's always one fool guy. If every other player can look across that 90 minutes and say, I did everything I could, fair enough, innit? But that didn't happen. I don't think anyone was terrible, like, you should never play for this club again. I think very few players across that 90 minutes was amazing. It's a team game. We have to go again, man. I don't know why Martinelli was doing that flick in his own half. That's another thing. People are not looking after the ball. People doing silly flicks. I mean, Eddie can do the adversity thing, man, but it's not Mighty Ducks, man. Like, man, just want to win football games, bro. And I can't really get at Eddie because I like him. I like what you're doing. I think you've got a squad role, but I don't look at you as the man to do these things, if I'm honest. And it is okay to give your opinion when, when players haven't done well. What I don't want to hear is certain man are offside. Yeah, the Brentford lad could have been offside, and we could have been done hard dirty. But there's probably been times we've benefited from decisions. And once again, for the final time, take away that little flashpoint that went against us. Did we do enough to win the game over 90 minutes? No, we didn't. So I don't want to hear no noise. I don't want to hear no noise. Control the variables you can control. Everyone sees shit refereeing week in, week out. So it's a bit of a myth. Somebody said player ratings. With that being said, yeah, why not, man? Let's get into some player ratings.